So in today's video I have re-edited this video. I've done colour correction, fixed the audio, changed the music, but in this video I am aiming to catch mostly pollock, collies and try to catch codlin. I do manage to catch a few bonus sea trout, and I also managed to catch my personal best sea trout, which you'll see later on in this video. As you can see here, I'm using my homemade spinner. In fact, this was one of the very first homemade spinners that I'd ever made. I decided to try down here in the estuary to see how I would get on and see if I would catch anything on the spinner, because normally I would use tobies and other forms of metal lures, so I thought I'd give a spinner a try, and this is how I got on. Now down in the estuary I'm using my underwater camera. Like I said earlier on, I've re-edited this video and hopefully you can see the fish a wee bit better now compared to before. When it comes to this style of fishing, it's always good to use different types of lures, and I like to use bright colours. As you can see here in the water column, with it being quite dark, having a lure that's quite bright, it is drawing the fish, as you can see here. On a day like this, if you're using one type of lure and it's not working, I always like to have a few different types of lures and different colours, and what you'll tend to find is, on a certain day, a certain lure and colour will work best. It's also good to see the wildlife, as you can see here. One of the nice bonus things that happened this day was, as you can see, was the dolphins. When it comes to this type of fishing, especially down here on the estuary, as you can see I've got a wee sea trout there, you don't need to cast out far. Most of the fish are going to be in close, and as you can see here with a few fish that I've caught, I'm actually casting not far out to the left, but I'm actually casting out and bringing the lure along the side here where you can see all these rocks. It's a big kelp bed there in front of me, and as you can see I'm casting the lure out and bringing it in close in to shore. And as you can see, I'm able to catch a few fish. So casting out as far as you can into deep water isn't always the best. Aim for features. As you can see here, there's a lot of rocks, there's kelp beds, fish are going to be in the features. So as you can see, I cast out, straight out, and then bring the lure in along the front of the rocks and where the kelp bed is. And as you can see, you catch the fish. One of the favourite lures I like to use, apart from using like silver tobies and silver metal lures, other ones that I find is quite effective is the Western's Sandy Andy, which is like a sand eel soft plastic lure. I've had loads of big fish on them, and they're one of my favourite type of lures to use as well. But when it comes to this type of fishing, it's always enjoyable regardless of the size of the fish. Most of the fish here are quite small, all fish have went back, but I'd rather spend a day fishing where I catch plenty than try and chase one big fish. Sometimes you'll have strong currents, so different types of retrieves will work better than others, so don't be scared to do fast retrieves or very slow retrieves. Mix up throughout the day and see what gets a bite. Also, when it comes to these type of locations where there's big kelp beds and loads of rocks, don't be scared to put on a cheap lure, cast it out and let it hit the bottom, and then do a very slow retrieve. What you'll probably find is a lot of fish are going to be down in deep water, but they're going to be into these features, so don't be scared to try and use a few lures to try and catch a fish, because you never know, you may end up getting that bonus fish that I end up doing later on in this video, where I catch my personal best sea trout. And as if you look at these rocks carefully to the right and see the size of them, you'll get a comparison to the sea trout I do catch later on, which is my personal best. That's £10 2 ounce. I've now moved to location. I'm now going into a bit of water that's a bit more of a man-made reef. It's a bit more shallow, but it's got a bit more features, and you do see the sea trout rising occasionally, and luckily I was able to catch one there. I was aiming for cod, that tends to be in that area as well as aiming for the pollock and collies. The sea trout in this video was just a bonus, I wasn't targeting them, but it's one of the type of fish, even though you're not targeting them, it's very nice to get. It's a nice bonus fish. When it comes to fishing the estuary, I'm one of the people that always say it's best to do a catch and release. So regardless of the size of the fish I'm catching, I always pull them back, but that's my personal preference. And you will see occasionally ones taking fish, and that's up to them what they do. But I believe that if you want to try and catch a big fish, then you need to practice catch and release. Because if you don't release the fish back, then they don't get a chance to grow big. As I cast my lure in, I was seeing more cod in this location, and I've had a few there. So when I cast it in a deeper part of this water, I was surprised to catch this sea trout. But if you look to the rocks to the left, as a comparison, you'll see how big the rocks are. This was a nice sea trout, and also this one here. But the next sea trout coming up was my personal best at £10 2 ounce, and if you look at the rocks compared to the size of the fish, it's a nice comparison if you look back at the size of the rocks to the left a few minutes back. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.